The roads are hot as the Santos Tour Down Under continues its journey into the Adelaide Hills. Greipel has a grip on the six-day race, but with temperatures tipped to topple 40 degrees, only the strongest will survive in the ultimate test of the fittest. Hello everyone and welcome to the Epic Cycle presented by Michelob Ultra. With temperatures set to reach a scorching 40 degrees Celsius, the third day of the six-day Santos Tour Down Under is set to be an absolute broiler. Hello everybody, I'm Phil Liggett, alongside me is Paul Sherwin, and this is Susan. She's a 6-month-old wallaby joey with another kill by a falling tree, which she's set to have a great life. As the riders sign in here, Paul, for a really very hot day, 133 kilometres the stage going from Unley to Stirling.
Always amazing how relaxed the riders are before the start, but a lot of them I think will be wondering whether or not it's going to be a real rip-roaring race here, because it's an undulating course. A chance to have a chat with world champion Cadel Evans, who really seemed at home here in Australia.
This was what happened yesterday on the riders coming into Harndorf, and it was a déjà vu because the winner was Andre Greipel, his second stage win in as many days, and pushing out his overall lead by just a little bit. But what a fast sprint as he gets well clear of the field here to get in first. And with 2 wins and 2 bonuses for winning those stages, he now leads by 14 seconds ahead of Henderson and Gert Stegmans, with Robin McEwen and Jürgen Rollins there. So, tough finish for him today, I think.
Andre, so far the time bonuses are putting you a long way ahead of the other riders, but today there's another challenge, and that's the uphill finish at Stirling.
Yeah, I mean, if someone gets a time bonus, the 10 seconds and maybe 10 seconds lead in front of the bunch, then I lost the jersey. But yeah, it's a really tough final today, and yeah. But I hope the team is strong enough to keep me up in the front.
Well, with 4 days to race, there are still a lot of riders waiting to play the cars, not least, of course, Lance Armstrong.
Yes, he's looking like he's got great form at the Santos Tour Down Under this year, but a lot of the other riders do have as well. I'll tell you one thing though, Phil, I think today the sprinters will be wondering whether or not they're going to be able to get themselves up that very difficult main street in Stirling.
Big question, is this the circuit which will break Andre Greipel? It's a tough one, Paul. 133 kilometres from Unley on the road to Stirling today. We've only finished in Stirling once before, and by the time you get down there through a chunga, it's a circuit of 2 full laps but 3 climbs of the finishing hill. That might be too tough for some of the riders today.
I'll tell you one thing, Phil, it's not all about the 3 finishing circuits either. It's the road to get there is also extremely tough.
131 riders on the start line today. Peter Weening, although he signed in or withdrew afterwards, and he's seeing the riders leave here in glorious conditions. Without doubt the hottest of the 3 days of the Santos Tour Down Under, but they have a 10-kilometre neutralised zone today.
Well, the idea of that is to allow the riders to get safely out of the city of Adelaide before the neutral flag there. The red flag is pulled in, and then the race will commence proper on the great highway that takes the riders away from the city.
Well, there's the expressway, and the riders now are getting a free road, and it's unfortunately for the riders, it's quite a steady uphill climb here. This is the Southern Expressway, taking the riders south of Adelaide now, heading down to Old Wollonga, but they won't get that far today. An attack immediately here by Bjorn Schroeder of Team Milram.
Good move here. This will light the blue touch paper and have everybody trying to get off the front end of the main field. It's a big, wide, open road, the Southern Expressway, Phil, and it's going to be very difficult to break the stranglehold of the front end of the main field, unless, of course, a group of about 9 or 10 riders can form.
Well, maybe that's exactly what's happening. 181 there, Michael Matthews. Now, this is a little problem at the back here. This is George Hincapie. He's just fallen in a small group of riders, and he's got back up to the doctor's car, who's patching up his shorts as well as his leg, but he looks okay. It won't be too much of a problem. He's just making sure. Wearing the colours there, the champion of the United States.
Well, a little bit further up the road, and you can see now that there's a small group forming. That's 6, 7, 8 riders, 9 riders starting to form at the front end of the main field. But as you can see, the main field pretty much under control of HTC Columbia. They don't want too many breakaways to go clear, because not too far up the road, in fact, there is the first sprint point of the day, and 3 seconds of bonus available to the first rider across the line.
That's right, McLaren Flat is where it all happens today for the first sprint bonus of the day. Then we've got the climb of Wickhams Hill, which is quite a tough climb. Certainly the hardest climb we'll have had in the 3 days of racing. These boys working to try and stretch the elastic, but for the moment the main peloton are driving not too far behind. It's a scorcher out on the roads today of South Australia as the riders try to pace themselves through the heat. We'll take a break and be right back. These boys won't have time to stop today, Paul. There's a 20-second gap now. They've got themselves about 12 riders in the break.
Yes, and an assortment of teams as well there. You've got Case Depania making themselves very present at the moment. Also Radio Shack are in here. Garmin Transitions are in there as well. So the big teams have made themselves present in this breakaway, looking over their shoulders though, but 20 seconds is really not very much.
It's putting the pressure on HTC Columbia. There's Greipel in the ochre jersey there on the same team, and he's sitting in the slipstream. And I think, you know, they're going to put the pressure on him today, but they've got to attack early. They mustn't carry him towards the finishing line feeling fresh. So I think the whole of this American team is going to be under pressure today.
I always heard Stegman's moving up there to have a little chat with Greipel to see what's happening. This is the first sprint of the day, McLaren Flat, and I tell you what, Phil, they're not holding it back here.
Well, the chase is still on behind, but they're going to contest this sprint. Andrei Grifko is the rider in the breakaway. These are the whole list of the men in this leading group, including Matthew Wilson. But as they head over to the front here, Jurgen van der Walle, Peter McDonald, these are survivors of this breakaway. And they're all, when they start messing about like this, then the bunch is going to pick them up.
Almost certainly, because the main field are charging along at around about 45 to 47 kilometers an hour. This is a little counter move by the rider from Garmin Slipstream, Garmin Transitions, I should say.
Well, as they're trying to sort out this first sprint here in McLaren Flat, this is probably the most aggressive sprint we've seen in the 3 days of racing. But they're all worried about a 3-second time bonus, which isn't very much in the big scheme of things. Just inside 400 meters, they've slowed right down here as they now line themselves up. Number 15 there is Sebastian Rossler. He can be a very good sprinter, but he's put himself on the back of the group now, and it looks as though we've got one of the Russian riders, Gorka Ignatiev, on the front there.
Well, Matty Wilson is the rider there with the orange shoulders to his jersey. He's really going to try and get this. He wants to move himself up in the overall classification. He's looking for the 3-second time bonus, but in fact it's the rider from Euskaltel over on the far side there who launches and lunges at the line. And this is our favourite rider, Gorka Izaguri. He's been on the attack, Phil, almost since the very first day of the Tour Down Under, and it's the first prize he's got.
Every day. He's attacked from the gun every day without success. He did it earlier today as well, but he was caught. He went in the second wave of the attack, and now he's picked himself up a small time bonus and a good sprint there. Just getting in ahead of Peter McDonald, former champion of Australia, and Matthew Wilson getting a 1-second bonus. So the field now basically under the escort once again of all of the boys in black, white and yellow of HTC Columbia. And so far, though he's been under pressure, he survived that man Greipel. Time for a quick break on the Epic Cycle presented by Michelob Ultra. Well, the peloton are working very hard today, Paul, to keep this race all together, aren't they?
They certainly are. I think they're a little bit concerned, Phil, as well about the strong winds at the top of the climbs as well, because that is the sort of wind that could really split this race to pieces. Now it's Team Milram at the front setting the tempo, Dominic Rolls. This is a team that may well be trying to see whether or not they can do something special.
Well, they're bringing back 1 or 2 early attackers again, and they're getting absolutely nowhere. But you know, the next obstacle, if you like, is at Wickhams Hill, coming at 38 kilometres in. And this looks like why these two are attacking, because one of these riders is Roy Rugger. He's number 94 and he's setting the pace. He's taken with him the new rider on the block for the team, Luke Roberts. Now, if Roy Rugger can stay away on Wickhams Hill all the way to the top and get maximum points, he could be the leader of the Skoda King of the Mountains.
Well, that's quite interesting, Phil, because that did not actually really look like an attack. It looked like more of an acceleration at the front end of the main field. Mathieu Perget just at the back here with Michele Nieve, the rider from Euskaltel Euskadi. These riders with the orange jerseys, they've been very aggressive since the very first day of the Tour Down Under.
And this is young Christian Meyer here, who's trying to also get up into the action. And Garmin slipstream again, trying to put a man up at the front of the attack. Now, this is almost a European climb. This is, as you can see, it hairpins right its way up to the top of Wickhams Hill. And then we do have quite a nice descent. But Rohriger, who was in action on day one, didn't quite work out for him, is now finding some good pacemaking here coming from Luke Roberts.
Well, this climb here, Phil, is actually just a little bit like Wollonga Hill. It's in fact along the same mountain chain, or hill chain I should say, as Wollonga, which is the race that the climb the race goes over on Saturday. Just looking at the rider coming along there as well, it looked like it was Valery Dmitriev wearing number 3 for Astana.
Well, the field has split up only on the approach to this climb. These two boys got away first, and although there is a chase group, and here it is, and there's the 4 names for you, they are not crossing the gap. They're staying clear of the peloton, but they're not closing in on the 2 Milram riders. They definitely had a plan here today. They know if Rohriger goes over first over the top, and I'm sure Luke Roberts will let him do that. They've just got to watch for the whereabouts of Timothy Rowe, because he's in the Skoda leader's jersey.
I think Luke Roberts very happy to get himself back onto the international circuit as well, Phil, after a lot of problems with illness and injuries. He's now riding, I think, on the crest of a wave. Coming up to the top of the climb there, you can see he is going to allow his teammate to get himself maximum points.
And again, another huge crowd, and I have to say, standing in the middle of absolutely nowhere here in South Australia. It's a red hot day as well. Maximum points for Rohriger. Roberts is over in 3rd place, and in the sprint here, Rowe gets only 4th, so he'll lose his jersey, I'm afraid. These boys continue now. Are they going to regroup? Because again, it's Greipel's HTC Columbia squad who are closing it all down.
Well, Phil, if you look at the trees at the side of the road there, you get an indication of just how strong this wind is. That's going to make for a very nervous main field. Another move forming here. Karsten Kroon, a very experienced bike rider, joined by Simon Clark. This really is being a very aggressive, it's probably the most aggressive stage I think we've had of the race so far, despite the fact that all the stages have been dominated by breakaways.
And a huge effort here. Jack Bobridge is coming across, the under-23 time trial champion, thinking there might be a train going out. He's trying to reach him as we come into the town of Achunga, which was once the scene of the Australian Road Race Championships when Robbie McEwen won. But it looks as though Kroon himself on the same team now, as Cadell Evans has gone across the line first. Clark is over in 2nd, and Bobridge is virtually on their back wheel. Now, if these 3 riders can get together, 3 very aggressive names in the sport.
2 more riders as well trying to come across the gap there. This is Jens Voigt in the white jersey. Big Jens Voigt making his comeback. It's amazing how many messages we both received, Phil, from around the world after that crash in the Tour de France. How is big Jens Voigt? Well, I think he's back, because there he is, and he's about to make that 3-man leading group 5.
And Maciej Petecki is the Liquigas rider who's on his back wheel and has just joined. Now, these are 5 strong men. We're through the town of Achunga. It's virtually a straight ride as they go into the town now of Stirling, but it's all steadily uphill. Well,
it's over the minute mark. The whiteboard, I should say, there read 62 seconds. This is putting serious pressure today onto HTC Columbia. Mick Rogers coming up to hand out a few drinks to the guys. Come on, guys, keep it going. But from here on up, it climbs right the way up to this finishing line in Stirling, and then all of a sudden, Phil, they've got to go round and do it 2 more times.
Well, 90 kilometres in, here come the boys, and they're riding extremely strongly here. 1:32 is the gap. I have to say, today's racing has been superb in the hot weather. They've really taken this race to Greipel. They've tried to hit him at every moment they've had, but so far, Greipel is coping with it. More from stage 3 of the Santos Tour Down Under after the break. Stay with us. Welcome back to the epic cycle presented by Michelob Ultra and the 12th edition of the Santos Tour Down Under. Just 10 kilometres left to ride now. They've seen the circuit on the way round. We've had the attacks, the counter-attacks, but Paul, they are coming back together, and once they get down to the bottom of this descent, they'll be uphill all the way to the line.
Well, you can see it's the black and red jerseys, Phil, all over the front end of the main field. That's Case d'Espana, that's the team of Alejandro Valverde, but they've also got a very good sprinter in there as well. Rojas, he was excellent last year in this event, so they're obviously looking for the win this afternoon.
Well, the crowd have been enjoying quite a spectacle. A very good attacking rider. Christian Meyer here is being brought back into the fold. It's been a good escape by Christian, but now they're all together. Case Depon have been paying close attention on this finishing circuit, and we feel that they are trying to get a win for Alejandro Valverde.
Well, Garmin transitions have been very aggressive this afternoon, but you know, when you've got a big train like this on the front of the main field, it's difficult to stay clear. But certainly you can see the Spanish team. I spoke to the team manager, Neil Stevens, this morning, Phil. He was playing down their chances, but I think he was playing some very cagey little tactical manoeuvres.
This is the tricky. They've just made a right, now they make a sharp left. Well, the only thing about the finish, Paul, is it's among the eucalyptus trees here, and the riders now are on the clouds. I'm very impressed this week with the rise from Euskaltel Euskadi. It's Mikel Niev who's having a little dig here, but they've used all of their team today, and well done too, because we don't normally see too much of them on a race of this nature.
No, they've been very aggressive, but just look at the control at the front there. The men in black and red, and that is Case Depanya, the Spanish team led by the Australian Neil Stevens as team manager. They haven't panicked at all. They're allowing these little accelerations to go off the front, because they know you've got to be a really strong bike rider to survive, especially when you see a banner like that indicating 5 kilometers still to go, and most of those uphill.
Well, normally this would be a King of the Mountains. It's the third time they come up it. There's no points for the Skoda King of the Mountains, but the riders are getting used to accelerating up the climb, and it's the climbers who are having a little go here, and they've really worked over Greipel today, and we haven't seen too much of him at the front either. And again, Case Depon trying to lead now. Valverde to the summit, have got back in control of the peloton. Not quite so many members of the squad here though.
Well, this is Gutierrez on the front, a former Spanish national time trial champion, former world time trial champion, a strong man to put on the front, and look at the damage that he's doing. Just look how long that main field is. Anybody in 10th to 15th position will really be suffering. That's Alejandro Valverde, Phil, sitting in 3rd position. He'll be waiting for the big acceleration, but just check out who's on his wheel there with the black and yellow helmet. Mr. Armstrong himself.
Well, he's in a very strong position, just sitting on the wheel of Valverde. Valverde once beat Lance Armstrong to the top of Courchevel in the Tour de France. Lance didn't know who he was then. Well, the red flag warns the riders to form a split on the road here now as they go under the railroad track. They are warming up for the finish, and there's a lot of riders losing their positions there. 1 kilometre to go.
Well, 1 or 2 riders from Case Depine slipping backwards, Phil. They've done their lead out for the afternoon. Rabobank slipping away too. This is not really, I don't think, the kind of sprint finish for Graham Brown this afternoon. Much more likely to be for Alejandro Valverde. There he is. Armstrong's at the front now, looking over to see whether he's got the shadow of Valverde. Here's a move coming over on the left-hand side of the road.
Well, this is the move that Armstrong has worked for here. Last desperate moments to try and steal the show, but it looks as though Armstrong has paved the way. Now can his teammate finish it off? A desperate moment here as Rabobank try to drag them into the action as well. Well, there's no sign of Greipel at the moment. The strong man in the sprint has left his move very late for the last 2 days and come with a flourish at the end. But it looks as though, again, the uphill has proved too far.
It's a very difficult one to judge this. Everyone's starting to manoeuvre up to the front end of the main field. It's the new Futon Fuji team at the front end, leading their men out up into 2nd position. That looks like the white jersey of the world champion. It may well be Cadel Evans also coming out of the shadows. It is in 2nd place.
Well, there's a definite split in the peloton now. Riders are sitting up here, but you're right, Cadel Evans is having to go, but somebody's jumped away. And you know, that's the champion of Portugal's jersey, so it's got to be Manuel Cardoso. Cardoso, they've all marked the wrong man. They were watching Cadel Evans, who's still at the head of the first, but Manuel Cardoso is going to get a Pro Tour win here, and that's a first because he's never been on a Pro Tour team before until this week. So he gets the victory, Cardoso, the biggest of his career. I'm pretty sure Valverde got across there in 2nd place.
Yes, Valverde was across there in 2nd place, but watch this lead out there by Cadel Evans. He obviously is not worried about the world champion's curse because he's got great form here at the Santos Tour Down Under. He's going to cross the line in 3rd place. That's Valverde just over on the left-hand side, just seeing that he's lost this afternoon by probably not much more than 1 second.
Well, there will be a time gap of about a second for the winner there. He's well clear of the field, but what a result. Valverde and Evans in that order. But for the champion of Portugal, the first win of the year for him. He got 13 wins last year, but look at the people he's beaten. Valverde, Evans and Sagan, the 19-year-old with stitches in his knee, 4th. Let's join Paul Sherwin now, has the man of the moment with him.
Un grande trabajo del equipo Case de España.
A lot of work done by Case d'Espagne, but you made a very good attack in the final kilometers.
Case d'Espagne ha controlato todo giros hasta final.
Yes, Case d'Espagne did a lot of work to control the 2 circuits. I waited for the sprint and felt that I had good legs, so I gave it everything.
The Michelob Ultra Ride of the day was when Manuel Cardoso made his move and nobody seemed to watch him some 300 metres from the line. He left the peloton with such power, he actually gained a second over them by the time he reached the finishing line. Last year he won 13 races and this was his first ever Pro Tour win. And that's our Michelob Ultra Ride of the day. Well, in fact, Andre Geipel, though they threw everything they could at him today, he keeps his Oka jersey. 14 seconds, 3 riders lining up behind him now. McEwen is in 5th and Cadel Evans moves up to 7th.
We controlled the whole day the race, and yeah, at the end I just tried to stay on the wheels of the others, to just stay in the same time like the bunch. I had cramps everywhere in my body, so I think it was not really healthy to ride.
Well, that wraps it up for today's action. Be sure to tune in for more Santos Tour Down Under tomorrow at 6 p.m. Eastern Time. It's the Epic Cycle presented by Michelob Ultra. And don't forget to catch Paul Sherwin's one-on-one with Lance Armstrong Saturday, January 23rd at 5:30 p.m. Eastern Time. For a full cycling schedule, log on to our website at versus.com and you can follow us on Twitter at VS Cycling. For Paul Sherwin, I'm Phil Liggett saying so long for now.